Okay, so let's talk about the Brew leak. This one is getting its name from a Facebook poster, Brew Elfen, who correctly predicted Piranha Plant before that was publicly known. About a week ago, someone privately messaged me over on Discord saying Ryu Hayabusa would be the 5th DLC fighter and Geno would be coming later. As proof of their claims, they showed me a link to this Facebook post by Brew Elfen and said Brew Elfen was their friend who was telling them this. Then yesterday, a 4chan post popped up claiming to be Brew Elfen, showing a bunch of different fighters, including Jonesy from Fortnite coming to Super Smash Bros., and posted the same Facebook link as their proof. I made a video about this 4chan leak and explained how it was using the same proof that I had seen earlier for the Ryu and Geno leak someone told me privately. After the 4chan post came out, Brew Elfen said he was being impersonated and the 4chan post wasn't actually from him. Now, due to that 4chan post and this whole thing just kind of exploding, a lot of people have also been really trollish with this whole situation. There's been a lot of, like, shit posting, basically. This has gotten really, really complicated. A lot of people are very confused, as some rather credible people seem to be saying one thing and actually meaning another, and it's just the whole thing has been muddied up. It's very, very complicated for people, but it's actually pretty simple. It's just a lot of stuff is making this complicated for everybody. So let me give you guys the very simple leak that's happening here and just, you know, get rid of all the fluff, and then I'll try to explain the timeline of what happened to make it so complicated. Okay, so I've talked to all the main players involved with just what has happened here. I've talked to Sabi, I've talked to the person who told me about Ryu and Geno a week ago, I've talked to Iamshifty, and I've talked to Brew Elfen themselves. So this is basically what is actually being leaked here. Brew Elfen is saying that Ryu Hayabusa is coming to Super Smash Bros. As DLC number 5, and sort of a soft rumor that Geno could be coming. That's the whole leak. The first leak that I was told like a week ago, that's the real information here, if you believe Brew Elfen. Iamshifty, who said Ryu Hayabusa right before Terry got revealed, is saying that him and Brew share the same source or sources, and that's where the Ryu Hayabusa stuff's coming from. So Iamshifty is also on board with Ryu Hayabusa still, just as the next DLC fighter here. So Brew Elfen, Ryu Hayabusa, Iamshifty on board with that too. That's really the leak, and then sort of a somewhat thing that Brew Elfen has also heard a little bit about Geno, but they don't seem as confident in that. The real leak here is basically Ryu Hayabusa. And by real leak, I mean if you believe Brew Elfen. They did, in fact, predict Piranha Plant correctly for Smash before that happened, so there's a little bit of proof and credibility to this person. So yeah, that's the basic leak. Now, like I said, there has been a lot of trolling and shitposting associated with this whole situation, so even Brew Elfen is not clear of this. Here's a post that says, the 4chan poster wasn't me. However, Ryu Hayabusa will be joining the Brothers of Smashing in 2019. Also, ... and then a picture of Jonesy. So yeah, I mean, he does do some trolling, but I assure you it is just trolling. The real leak is Ryu Hayabusa and a kind of soft, maybe Geno leak. Iamshifty says he's a friend who has the same sources I do, so basically depends. The Facebook account is real, the 4chan post isn't. And then Shifty goes on to say, I'm not claiming it to be fake, to be honest. I'm just confirming the Facebook account is him. The 4chan post isn't. His info comes from the same place I get mine, so it depends if you believe either of our sources, basically. And then Iamshifty went on to say this about Brew Elfen and sort of the trollish post quality to some of the things he said. He says, he thinks this because his humor is dark. I saw his post. Sabi is judging it based on his dark humor about Papa advertising for a third friend of ours. In reality, he's worried and doesn't know how to handle the people spamming him. So essentially, Brew Elfen never intended people to find his Facebook post, but now that it is public, he's just a little worried. So some of the things he said just have this kind of dark humor quality or a bit of a trollish quality. He may be attempting to muddy up the whole thing and make it seem like he's less of a legit leaker. Anything like that could be what's going on here, but Iamshifty is saying, you know, that quality to his post is really just because he's honestly a little worried about the attention. Okay, so before I do a timeline of what exactly has happened here, I'm just going to once again briefly recap exactly what the real leak here is. Ryu Hayabusa as DLC 5, if you believe Brew Elfen and Iamshifty, who apparently have the same source or sources, and then the possibility of Geno. Brew Elfen has heard something about that, but not as convictly. That's what's going on here. Make up your own mind whether or not you believe that. Okay, now I'm just going to go over the timeline of what's gone on here. Basically, I'm going to go all the way back to before Terry's reveal. Iamshifty comes out and says that Ryu Hayabusa will be the next DLC fighter. It ends up being Terry Bogard instead, but Iamshifty never backs down. About a week ago, someone messages me over on Discord and says Ryu Hayabusa is coming as the next DLC fighter and Geno for the next wave of fighters, and they give me a link to a Facebook post by Brew Elfen showing them predicting Piranha Plant correctly before that was known, saying that this is the person who's telling them this and has some credibility. Because of this Facebook post, I end up following Brew Elfen over on Twitter, and they get a little worried about the fact that I was following them. I don't think they realized I had the link to their Facebook post, and that was known to me privately. Over on Discord, Tweets of Rage, which is Brew Elfen's Discord name, says, "I'm scared because my Twitter account is like nothing," and then shows an image of PapaGenos followed you. Then yesterday, over on 4chan, there is a post with a bunch of characters, Jonesy from Fortnite, Claire Redfield, Chosen Undead, Maxwell, and it is saying the same source as its proof, the Brew Elfen Facebook post. That 4chan post ends up being fake as Brew Elfen gets wind of it and comes out and says that that was an impersonator. Even after Brew Elfen comes out and denounces the 4chan leak, things just get really muddied up by a lot of trolling and just shitposting and stuff, so things get really complicated, but I did eventually talk to Brew Elfen directly, and they wrote me this. "I'm gonna tell you this, buddy. Ryu Hayabusa is joining Smash Bros. Ultimate in 2019. Geno was told in a joking manner by probably the most reliable guy on the planet. So I'm like, and I said, gotcha. Okay, so that's essentially everything, guys. There's a lot of stuff connected to this one that makes it seem way more complicated than it actually is, but that is the bare basics of what happened here. So Ryu Hayabusa as DLC number 5, that's what Brew Elfen and Iamshifty are saying their sources are telling them, and then, again, the soft possibility of Geno later on. Okay, so ironically enough, even though that 4chan post that had Jonesy from Fortnite is fake, we actually did get some evidence towards Fortnite potentially getting in Smash recently. So the new Fortnite map was just shown off, and if you look really closely, you can see what looks like some, like, I don't know, nuclear silos or something like that, and on the top, it kind of looks like the Smash symbol. This is really similar to the new Shantae trailer that had her window looking kind of like the Smash symbol in this one shot, so yeah, I mean, take that how you will. Those usually aren't actually hints towards characters getting into Super Smash Bros. It's just kind of ironic after this whole 4chan post that had Jonesy on it. It's like right afterwards we get a little bit of evidence with Fortnite, so just kind of ironic. And then finally, the last thing I want to talk about is coming from PushDustin. Over on Twitter, PushDustin wrote, "I went to 7-Eleven earlier today to check when the display will change. It's November 3rd, which doesn't tell us much as other displays have lasted for similar amounts of time. Hopefully, we will hear something about Terry sometime soon." And then there's an image of the 7-Eleven display. So there you go, not much to go off of there. I do find the November 3rd date a little interesting because we had a theory that actually had that same date in it a little while back. Over on Discord, Sergio C. pointed this out to me. There was a official Nintendo tournament over in France that actually banned Hero for a little while. They ended up revoking that ban, but they didn't just ban Hero. They actually banned Hero and all future DLC characters from participating in the tournament. However, the tournament only ran between September 29th and November 3rd. So the idea was it's possible that Terry would be released before this, and that's why they were banning future DLC. It's just a little interesting that the November 3rd date has popped up again, but I really don't think these have anything to do with each other. It is possible we'll get Terry in like early November, if these are any indication of when he might actually come out. So that's a possibility here, but considering the tournament ends on November 3rd and the 7-Eleven, you know, the new signs for it are going to be on November 3rd, I would think Terry would have to happen after that if the 7-Eleven advertisements are actually going to advertise him. Okay, well that's everything I got for you guys today. The Brew Elfen stuff seems way more complicated than it actually is. Really, we're basically just looking at the possibility of Ryu Hayabusa. So if you believe Brew Elfen, if you believe Iamshifty, yeah, possibly Ryu Hayabusa is our final Fighters Pass DLC character. If you guys have any thoughts or comments about any of the stuff I talked about in this video, please leave them below. So once again, thank you guys for all the subscribes, all the likes. It really helps out the channel. So if you haven't subscribed yet, go ahead and do so, or like the video, or leave a comment, whatever you want. Until next time, have a good one.